For further security from cyber attacks, we use a firewall. Actually, a real firewall is protection between two walls or two rooms. We can relate this to your private network and the internet. One is protected from the other. When you are connected to the internet, you are constantly sending and receiving information in small units called packets. The firewall filters these packets to see if they meet certain criteria set by a series of rules, and thereafter blocks or allows the data. This way, hackers cannot get inside and steal information such as bank account numbers and passwords from you. To access the firewall setting, we use the control panel, then click on Windows Defender Firewall. The first setting is called Private Networks, which is currently connected. These are normally used in home or business settings where only certain trusted users have access to the files and folders on the system. The other setting, Guest or Public Networks, can be found in internet cafes or places where anyone can have access to the files and folders on the system, although they also can be restricted to some degree. An example, it would be possible to access some personal information, such as your email accounts or bank details, on a guest or public network. However, a warning that if you leave your details open, it can be subjected to others seeing or even using your information. We can see here a summary of the settings. As an example, the firewall is set to on. Incoming connections are blocked. All connections to apps that are not listed. The active private networks is the name of the network. In our example, it is just called network. And the notification state is you'll be notified when Firewall blocks a new app. On the left-hand side, there is a setting to the firewall. First, the apps that are allowed to pass through the firewall. The first observation is a lot of them are Microsoft. That is assuming that you are using a Microsoft operating system. If we scroll down, we can find some that have no access from any other app or network. An example of this is the file and printer sharing. This could be made private, so those on the network could access the printer facilities on this computer, or even public should the computer be connected to a public network. This is normally automatically adjusted when new apps are added. In Change Notification, which is the same as turn Windows Defender Firewall on or off. Once again, we have two options, private and public. This is set only when new apps are blocked by the firewall, which makes sense since we do not want to set it to the not allowed apps, as some will not operate under these conditions. It also allows us to stop the firewall so no apps can be blocked, which naturally will leave the computer open to any and all attacks. Restore Defaults just does that. Some attacks can alter the way the firewall behaves. Sometimes it's even possible to be tricked into believing some sites are safe. This option allows us to switch back to a safer mode. The advanced setting is to be able to configure certain policies to make the firewall behave differently. This again is normally automatically set.